How's it going? How's everybody doing? Essential Notes, talking fragrance with you guys once again. And man, I was supposed to do this video last month and I wanted to kind of release it last month. If you guys follow me and on any of my kind of social media platforms, you would know that I dedicated the month of June to my favorite brand at the moment. They've been my favorite brand for the last 5 years, and that's Olympic Orchids. And I was gonna cap the month off with my top 5 favorites from the house, and then I got busy and I couldn't do it. So now I'm already recording this now, mid-July. Probably won't come out, until the back half of July. I feel really bad, but this is a follow-up video basically for the month of June. If you could imagine this video being there, that's kind of what the game plan was, but life happens, man. It gets away from us. So I am going to go through my top 5, and so just a little bit about Olympic Orchids. They're kind of like an indie niche house based out of the Pacific Northwest in the state of Washington. I think they're around the Seattle area. I don't know. I don't think that they're in Seattle specifically. Dr. Ellen Covey, who is a professor at the University of Washington, is the founder and perfumer. They have had a number of fragrances that have been either nominated or have won art and olfactive awards. So they're very quality, I would say, fragrances and compositions. Awesome with this brand. Now, I don't think this brand has a lot of new releases over the last couple years. So this is they have a quite extensive catalog, but I think a lot of this goes back to when she was actually drumming up fragrances and putting in work on that. I don't know. I haven't seen a new release from them, and since I've started liking them, this catalog has existed since then, and it's been the same. So the cool thing is if you explore them, you have an opportunity to explore everything that they've created thus far, and you're not going to fall behind at the moment. So that's kind of cool, because it is as cool as it is for fragrances to release, new fragrances each year or multiple times a year. Dude, it's a lot to keep up on. And there are times where I have to kind of wait, 2 or 3 years and then go and try all of the new releases over the last 2 or 3 years, and to kind of get caught up with a house. In addition to, there's a lot of new houses that keep cropping up. So it is a hamster wheel in a way. Like, it's a never-ending kind of motion and whatnot. And I love it, but in the sense, it feels like you can't smell it all. You just can't. I can't imagine. I think the first year I was super back into this, like I would explore 3 houses a month. 3 houses a month. That's insane. I can't believe I did that. But I felt like it was never giving me a chance to wear the collection that I have. And in addition to I never got a chance to really grow and fall in love with these fragrances. It would be like, I tried it, I liked it. I tried it, I liked it. I tried it, I didn't like it. And I don't know, it was a little too much for me. So every year I find myself taking a step back as far as the kind of the number of houses that I'm going to go through. And I really have started trying to hone in on, even within my collection, the ones I love most, and spend time with them and enjoy them, really enjoy what I have, because I really like the collection that I've curated thus far. Yes, there's fragrances I want to add to it, but yeah, I'm really happy with what, and I feel like there's a time where what I had I wasn't happy with, and I always wanted to have the new thing, and I always wanted to have another one, or I was always thinking about the fragrance that I didn't have more than the ones that I did. So I'm glad I've changed and matured and evolved. Anyways, that's a huge sidetrack. So I guess lucky you for getting that if you want it. But we're gonna start with number 5. I'm gonna reference my laptop for notes because I don't have all these notes memorized. And I'm not spraying. I'm just gonna sniff off of the atomizer, and we're gonna go from there. But number 5 is Olympic Amber, and when I initially tried this out and wrote, because I journal, I had this designated as like a patchouli amber fragrance, and I would still call it that. I get a lot of patchouli in this. It's a very nice patchouli because it's wrapped in this gorgeous amber, and to me this is more patchouli forward than it is or patchouli centric, I would say. As like I said, I feel like it's wrapped in this beautiful amber. A little bit of the story on this one, Dr. Ellen Covey had built an amber accord, and she was using it in a number of her fragrances, and people wanted her to just release the amber accord as its own standalone scent, and she felt like, yeah, that it was good enough she could do that, and so she did it, and ended up becoming a hit. I think a lot of people liked it. I fell in love with it. So I'll go over the notes real quick and let you know what they have going on. So the notes, you have labdanum, vanilla, benzoin, incense, resins, cypress, patchouli, and wood. But like I said, this is like, you get kind of like labdanum at the front, and then in the core you have this gorgeous patchouli that's kind of wrapped in this really lovely, cozy, warm, comforting amber, and that's it. This fragrance does not shift, it does not change. There's, it's very linear, as it was just an accord. It wasn't created to be this top, mid, bottom. This is just her amber accord that she released as its own scent. So Olympic Amber, number 5. Number 4, so I like darker fragrances typically, and warmer, deeper ones that have complexity. But ironically, this is in my top 5, and this, although it's super dark juice, isn't like a dark, heavy, dense, it's not one of those fragrances at all. So this is Blackbird, and this is a killer fragrance for summertime. If you like blackberry, this is a scent you must throw on, like, in your collection. I don't know of a ton of blackberry fragrances that are blackberry forward. This is one. It's excellent. It's super sharp. It opens super sharp, and it lasts in the heat remarkably well. So I'll go over the notes on this guy here, and it's pretty straightforward. You have Himalayan blackberry fruit, dry grass and leaves, elemi, cedar, resins, a woody amber accord, fir balsam, and musk. And the stain power of this is remarkable. I love wearing this in the summertime when I'm like, if I want like a sharp kind of, want to wear something that has a sharp note that's going to catch people's attention. If I'm feeling like I want to be more out there with my fragrance, this is one that I wear, and it's a pleasant wear, and it lasts a majority of the day, and even in the heat. Like, I wear it here in Texas. It's a lot hotter here in Texas than in Montana, and this is a superb scent. So moving on to number 3, and this was one of my early buys from the brand. This might have been my second fragrance, I think, that I purchased from the brand. So I've had it a long time. I'm due for a refill. I might buy 100 ml of this next time, but this is Bay Rum. And Bay Rum, the notes on it are, you have Jamaican bay, laurel, cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, allspice, berry, orange blossom, citrus notes, javanol, and balsams. And I don't know what javanol is, but what I will say about this is this opens up, and it's not listed there, but in the description she talks about she put together a rum accord. So there's a rum accord in here as well, but it opens up super spicy. I mean, you get the allspice, the clove, the cinnamon, the cardamom. You get all of that up front, and it opens super spicy. Then as the spices kind of fall away, that kind of rum accord kind of floats to the top, and it's you know, there's laurel. I don't know what laurel is, but there's a little bit of orange blossom and citrus, just to kind of, it feels like that it's a bridge or some kind of like something that kind of just eases you into the rum. I let someone try this that was from Jamaica, whose grandma used bay rum quite a bit, and he's like, man, that smells exactly like what my grandma used. So shout out to Olympic Orchids and their interpretation of bay rum. And from what I understand, bay rum was something that was used back in the day. It had medicinal purposes, as well as, you know, they wore it as a scent. So moving on to number 2. Number 2 was the third fragrance that I bought, and that is Café V. This is a fragrance. I would designate it as a coffee scent, but it shifts the kind of complementary notes that come with it, kind of change. Sometimes it's very coffee forward, you know, depending on the temperature. Other times it could be very spice forward, like the cardamom really comes out and stands out. Other times it's the woods. Other times it's the leather, and then even, you know, another time I got more of this gourmand, because there's like some whipped cream, and I think there's chocolate in there. So those elements were very much more prominent. So it varies. Like, you kind of get a gist of what you're gonna get when you wear it, and as long as you're okay with that, you wear this, and then you're in for a treat as to what's gonna be highlighted the most that day. And again, I feel like it's basically boils down to a temperature thing, like the weather and whatnot. So the notes on this are espresso roast coffee, dark cacao, vanilla, cream, spicy chai, cardamom, leather, and well-worn woods. The inspiration of this was, I believe, coffee shops in the Seattle area, those small kind of quaint coffee shops, and it totally embodies that whole Pacific Northwest coffee shop culture vibe. Yeah, I used to live up in Olympia, Washington, and it actually reminded me of a coffee shop. I think there was a coffee shop called Mud Bay Coffee Roasters or something, and I would go in there and get coffee from time to time, and it reminded me of that. So that is my number 2 favorite, and now heading to my number 1. So for those that know me, you'll probably guess which one it is. I talk about it quite a bit. I wear it quite a bit, and especially in the fall during football season, because I wear it every Sunday or Thursday or Monday or Saturday that the Seahawks play, because I'm a huge Seattle Seahawks fan. So and that is Woodcut. Woodcut by Olympic Orchids. The notes on Woodcut are pine, cedar, oak wood, tolu balsam, olibanum, caramel, burnt sugar, and vanilla. This one was my very first niche fragrance that I bought, so it's kind of special in that way. This won an olfactive award, so it is quality, like it's an award winner right off the bat. So it speaks to how good and well kind of composed this scent is. And the inspiration was, I think she was passing a construction site where they were building, you know, they had torn down. If you've ever been in the Pacific Northwest, there's these beautiful sections, like even within the city, where you know, your Home Depots or whatever are buried within this little, almost like forest setting. So, you know, it's a shame that they have to cut down all those beautiful trees in order to develop, but that's what happens there. And she was walking by a site where there was a development going on, and she said it was basically the smell of development, you know, like the nature going away and bleeding out in order to put buildings up. So another reason this is special is I worked in a lumberyard as a saw operator, and this totally reminds me of that it always takes me back into the sawmill area, that, you know, the saw, operating the saw. I get sawdust, I get burnt blades, you get pine or fir, you know, I imagine, like, I get that whole smell of like ripping wet fir, and the blade gets caught and it burns up a little bit. It's like a sweet molassesy scent. She gets that. You get that in this. There's a burnt sugar accord that kind of brings that out. This is such a phenomenal scent. Again, my first niche fragrance, my first fragrance from Olympic Orchids, my favorite brand, an award winner. It was very, I love the story behind it and the inspiration. I think that's very cool that she was able to capture that. It took me back to my days as a saw operator. It just has so many elements, and then I love it and I wear it every time the Seahawks play. Huge Seattle Seahawks fan. But yeah, that's it. Those are my top 5. You got, at 5, you have Olympic Amber, which is a great patchouli kind of centric fragrance that's wrapped in a gorgeous amber. Blackbird, you have a very sharp blackberry fragrance that holds up in the heat very, very well. Number 3, you have Bay Rum. This is a beautiful spiced Bay Rum interpretation with a nice rum accord that comes out in the heart. It's gorgeous. Number 2, you have Café V, a really beautiful coffee fragrance with these beautiful facets that can take you in any which direction in the day depending on the weather. And then number 1, Woodcut, a very pine, sawdust, burnt sugar beauty. If you get into Olympic Orchids and you get a discovery set, highly recommend at least those 5. And that's all I got for you for today. And so until next time.